We visited the most famous place in Bolivia, Salar de Uyuni. We came here to see the most infamous mirror effect, but sometimes things just don't go as planned. We'll show you what to expect if you don't come at the right time of year. Spoiler alert, this place offers so much more. Let the adventure begin. Alright guys, let's go on an adventure. If you haven't heard of Salar de Uyuni, it's the world's biggest salt flat located in southwest Bolivia. We booked a 2-day excursion with the local tour company to see what this place was all about. We went during early December, expecting to see this amazing phenomenon where the salt flats turn into the world's largest mirror. As you'll see later on in this video, things didn't go as planned. It's pretty tricky to be able to see the awesome mirror effect of Salar de Uyuni. You have to come at the right time, and you have to be here when it's just rained so that the whole salt flats are filled with water. So obviously we're not here when that's happening. It's a little disappointing, but we are going to make the most of it because there's a lot more to Salar de Uyuni than just that epic mirror effect that you see on social media.
We're going to be exploring Salar de Uyuni, the lagoons, everything in between. This is going to be an awesome time here in Salar de Uyuni. Come with us.
So we stopped at the first salt hotel ever built here in Salar de Uyuni. Every tour passes through here. We saw some pretty interesting looking sculptures. Also, I think this was the last time we saw a bathroom.
Don't take this lightly. Bring some nice shades. You can go blind over here. It is unbelievably bright. Only slightly brighter than the future of this channel, especially if you like and subscribe.
They also have this really cool flag display here, so we're gonna have some fun, take some pictures, and make it look all aesthetic. Look at this. The international flag display is actually one of the most photographed spots in the salt flats. Seeing all these flags made us pause and feel super grateful that we can travel and see the beautiful world we live in.
The weather is so weird here. It's super hot and then you get really cold, completely unpredictable, and the sun can be scorching at times.
Our guide keeps taking us to these really random places here in the salt flats. I actually didn't know that there was so much to see and do. Right now, we are in a little area where they have built sculptures out of the salt blocks, and they're quite intricate and really beautiful. Check these out. Some local artists have created sculptures made entirely of salt blocks. It's one of the newest attractions in Salar de Uyuni and by far one of our favorite moments.
The detail on some of these sculptures is absolutely amazing. You can see the details in her face and on the babies. No, le quería hacer una pregunta, más o menos, como cuánto tarda en hacer una estructura de estas?
2 semanas.
2 semanas.
Sí.
¿Cuántas horas al día?
Hasta que todo el día.
Todo el día, wow. No, está quedando muy bonita. As you can see, this hand is completely made out of salt. This is amazing.
The people of Uyuni have ingeniously repurposed these salt blocks to create not only sculptures, but to also build houses and hotels. Speaking of salt hotels, we ended up staying in the Salt Palace Hotel for one night. Now don't get us wrong, it was very nice, but we didn't have the best experience. The amenities were really nice, especially the pool and spa, but our room was surprisingly small and very basic for the price we paid. It's just something to keep in mind if you're thinking of staying here. Now back to the Salar. So we have stopped in the middle of the salt flats and we are about to have some lunch here. Our guide is actually helping set up lunch right over here, and we are going to sit here and just enjoy the vastness of this beautiful place. Your tour in the Salar will most likely include lunch, which is a super unique experience in itself. We had a picnic outside surrounded by nothing else but salt. There is not many places like this on Earth, and what a privilege to be here. Your tour guide will likely take you to a place in the Salar where you can get some of the most iconic pictures in the salt flats. This was arguably the funniest part of our day.
So I'm gonna try to get some of the best types of souvenirs, and it's crystallized salt. So when you get into one of these holes, you can actually stick your hand in here and try to pull one of these out. And it's completely crystallized salt. Super cool, and this is the best type of souvenir.
The next part of our tour took us to this really strange and unique island in the middle of the salt flats called Icahuasi Island. This was the moment we should have worn sunscreen. The UV rays at this altitude are nothing to play around with. Well, you'll see what we mean. Our guide brought us to this really strange little island in the middle of the salt flats that has a bunch of cacti. This place is wild. The landscape was strikingly beautiful, but what really made it unique was its strange looking cacti. These aren't your typical desert cacti. They were super tall, with some reaching up to several meters high. The shapes of these cacti were otherworldly, with intricate patterns and spikes. As we hiked farther, we noticed the variety of these cacti. It was a surreal feeling walking among these ancient plants that have thrived in such a harsh environment for centuries. I grew up in New England, so I haven't been around cacti before. And, oh, ow!
For a size comparison, I'm 6'1". This thing must be like over 35 feet. This thing is huge. Honestly, I didn't think the island was gonna be worth it, but wow. Obviously, if you're from the desert, you're not gonna be impressed. But us, from the Northeast, this place is amazing. And the contrast of just like the white background with the mountains in the back, absolutely stunning.
As the sun started to set in the distance, our driver drove us to the only place where there was water in the flats, so that we could catch a glimpse of the infamous mirror effect. Even though we didn't get that epic 360 mirror effect, it was still a beautiful sight to witness.
This is the reality of coming to Uyuni if it's not the months of January and February.
Yeah.
The tiny little bit of water, it's like a massive watering hole where everybody just shows up.
Your tour will most likely include a sunset snack and some local Bolivian wine. We enjoyed every moment, and you will too.
So that's how the first day of the tour concludes. And I was talking to him, and he said tomorrow's gonna be even more epic. See you tomorrow.
Day 2, we're having some breakfast before we head out. As you can see from our faces, we are burnt. Look at Daniel.
All right, guys, our first stop of the morning is a train cemetery and this really cool metal art museum outside. The train cemetery is a unique and intriguing site and one you'll definitely visit on your tour to the Salar. It's located near the town of Uyuni and it's quite an unusual tourist attraction. It's essentially an open-air museum featuring a collection of historical steam locomotives and train cars.
Somehow these English trains ended up here in Bolivia.
These trains were abandoned in the late 1940s after the minerals in the area were depleted, and now it's kind of turned into a playground for both children and adults. It just goes to show how abandoned structures can have a new purpose and gain a whole new life.
When the kids show up, that's when you know it's time to go. Let's get out of here.
Next to the train cemetery was this outdoor art museum where local artists have crafted famous movie characters from scrap metal. A bit random, yeah, but actually it was really cool to see up close.
Every time we use ChatGPT, we always say please and thank you, just in case this happens.
I'll be back.
We then hit the road and started our drive a few hours away from Uyuni, heading south. On the way, we encountered a bit of traffic. We actually stumbled upon something pretty unique and special. Look at these guys. If you take this 2-day tour, you'll likely visit some of the most beautiful landscapes Bolivia has to offer. So we stopped at a bit of a watering hole, I guess, here on the side of the road, and there are a bunch of llamas and alpacas right in front of us. This is kind of like a scene from National Geographic. Don't you agree, Daniel? Our driver took us to the Valley of the Rocks, a fun place to explore and get a little lost. This valley is lined with unusual and captivating rocks formed as a result of volcanic activity and centuries of wind erosion. Everywhere you look, you'll discover a unique and intriguing stone.
Bolivia is amazing.
This landscape is absolutely so beautiful and so unique. Bolivia, you are really surprising us. You have such beautiful nature here. Wow, look.
I told you guys yesterday, the second day was supposed to be more epic, and wow. We didn't know that we were gonna find such beautiful stuff here. Besides the Salar de Uyuni, that's what happens when you explore. Let's head off to the next location.
After a quick lunch overlooking an active volcano, our tour guide took us to see some of the most beautiful lagoons in all of Bolivia. Your tour will most likely include one of these lagoons that are the perfect spot for flamingo sightings. There was hundreds of flamingos at each lagoon, and the contrast between the deep blue hues of the lagoon against the stark greenery of the landscape was incredible. Daniel, I feel like we've been sucked into the TV and we are in like a National Geographic episode. This is so beautiful. This area of Bolivia has a lot more to offer than just the salt flats. It surprised us that just a couple of hours away from the Salar is this vast and beautiful landscape that's not to be missed. We hope you guys at home enjoyed this video. Catch you guys on the next one. As always, thank you so much for watching.